technical difficulties. So I think what we're going to do as the format for this is we're going to take presentations first from Pepco, next from Washington Gas, then from OPC, and they'll each have about a 5-minute presentation. And then after each presentation, we'll take some questions from the audience, as well as some questions from myself. And then we'll have an open discussion where anyone else can fill the air and present on what they'd like to at the end.
Is there, looks like the slideshows and everything?
It's me.
Okay. All right, so I thought everybody was you got it.
No, this one's good. That one. So to start, just wanted to let you know who the DC Sustainable Energy Utility was. We're an organization that was created by the Clean and Affordable Energy Act in 2008, created a Sustainable Energy Trust Fund within DC. Anyone who pays an electric bill within DC, you'll notice that there is a small surcharge at the bottom of that bill called that pays into the Sustainable Energy Trust Fund. That funds the DC Sustainable Energy Utility, and what we do is we're here as a resource for businesses and residents in order to lower energy use throughout the district and in order to lower the cost of energy to DC residents. So we are ratepayer funded. Our annual budget is around $20 million, and we're tasked with a number of different goals. We need to suspend our budget equitably within the low-income community. We have to reduce peak demand across the district by 1%, as well as working with the largest energy users to the smallest energy users. So we're here as a resource for everyone. And these are some of our contract goals. With that, we have a number of different partners that we work with every day, including Groundswell, who we have a member of right here, Catherine Clausing. So we'll, with that, we'll move on to Walter from Pepco.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Walt Steffi, Customer Experience Manager for Pepco, and really the biggest function of my position is to help expand self-service options and give customers tools to help them understand their energy use and better understand where they might want to make investments in their home. So I'm going to, first of all, tell you a little bit about Pepco. Let's see, which one are we using here? Okay. No, that's not mine. That's okay. I'm trying to keep the energy up after that. That last presentation was wonderful, wasn't it? There we go. Okay. Okay, just a little bit about Pepco. A little over 800,000 customers. We serve the district and a couple counties in Maryland. And we're a subsidiary of Pepco Holdings, and we also have two other utilities, Atlantic City Electric and Delmarva Power. So, and this is a little bit about all the utilities. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
This is a little bit high. I'm pretty loud, so I usually don't need that. Okay, so I'm not going to really get into all the details. I just wanted to share that with you so you could get a little feeling for what we do and who we serve. This is our homepage. So if you've been to Pepco.com, we recently redesigned that to make that a little more effective for our customers. It's what we call a responsive design. So if you go to our website with any kind of device, whether it's a laptop or a regular computer or even a tablet or your mobile phone, it'll automatically size the website to be the size of the device you're coming from. So that way you get to see all the information. There's nothing hidden, and it's a better user experience for you folks. And then you see down at the bottom there is an area where you can sign into My Account. My Account is our self-service portal. That's where you can get information about your bill and about how you use energy. So this is that's a landing page for My Account. And this is the landing page for an area where we really try to help you understand your energy use. You'll notice in the yellow block there's a blue highlighted icon called Energy Use and Bill Data. So if you click on that icon, it'll bring you to this page. And on this page here, you can see it gives you a snapshot of why your bill may have changed, of what your bill looks like today. So it gives you an estimate of what your bill looks like before you get it. And this is just further down the page. It also gives you an idea of how you compare to a home that's similar in size to yours. And so there's a bunch of questions that we ask you, maybe 10 questions or so, to get a feeling for what your household is like and what your home is like. And that's what we use for this comparison, so that you're being compared to a home that's similar to yours and a household that's similar to yours, not somebody that's twice the size and twice as many people. So it gives you a fairly accurate comparison. And then right below, it also gives you an idea how your energy use is distributed. What different appliances and things in your home use what percentage of energy. So it gives you an idea of areas that you might want to focus on. So this link here is, if you are an AMI customer, you have an automated meter reader, an automated meter. It gives you we can show you energy use down to the daily and hourly level, which really gives you an ability to understand where you're using energy and at what time period you're using energy, so you can more effectively try to control that. And also, there's an area where we have various savings calculators and things like that, so you can get an idea of what type of improvements you can make and what kind of impact those improvements will have on your utility bill or your savings overall for the types of energy that they would be using. A lot of different tools out there for you. We certainly encourage everybody to sign up for My Account. All you need is your most current bill, and with that you can create a user ID. You'll be able to see your bills and use all these marvelous tools that we have out there for you. Yeah, I think that's it for me. Thank you.
So with that, start on some questions. If we have any questions from the audience, please feel free to raise your hands. If not, I have some prepared. So let's start right
My name is Gene Solon. I live in Southwest DC, where I'm a senior citizen troublemaker. I live in fact, at least two of us here live in a Southwest high-rise building. Large housing complex, in my case, cooperative. Your presentation and so many other presentations seem to target single-family homeowners rather than these large housing complexes. The essence of what you say applies to both the single-family homeowners and the owners of units in the complexes. But one of the things I'd like to get out of today's experience is an answer to the question, how can that lady's housing complex and complex I live in together apply for energy supply, electricity, gas, and even communications, so that we can form a large consumer body may be eligible because of that for more affordable rates. Now, I don't know if you can help.
Yeah, unfortunately, I am not an expert, and I don't know that much around the rates and the rules that they have in DC for community-based generation. Certainly, we can have somebody get back to the group and answer that question for you. I hate to lead you down the wrong path.
No. It's not only community-based energy generation itself. There's another workshop addressing that situation, and I may cheat, I may leave earlier so I can sneak into that one too. But it's community purchase of energy.
That's right. So the piece that you'll be purchasing is really the generation and transmission piece. So I think that the two are related, but again, I'm not an expert on that topic, so I hate to give you information that wouldn't be accurate, but we certainly can make sure we get somebody to answer your questions for
Yeah,
you. So.
a few of us would like to come and
Yeah.
sit with key people to talk about that situation.
And I think that we can talk about
You
that.
need me to address these questions to PEPCAT?
Right, exactly. So while Mark is presenting, I appreciate it if you could tailor the questions more towards PEPCO's service area and the services that they can provide. I think what you're speaking about is some of the competitive energy suppliers and how you can act in a larger purchasing body to help lower
You
your
got
rate.
it.
I think we can talk about that a little bit later after Mark's presentation. There are some resources around the district, so I would say
Good.
hold tight.
Good. Thanks a lot.
Mr. Swain, would it be possible if all of the speakers spoke, then we ask questions? Because I think it's going to be difficult to get through every one and ask questions of each.
I understand, yes.
motion.
You second that motion? Okay. All right, well, with the motion seconded, I think we'll go ahead and present
Excuse
to
me.
everyone and then present questions back to individual
I
panelists.
just want to make a comment.
Okay?
I attended a meeting with the Ward 3 Democratic Committee of which I'm involved in, and we had a 2-hour session on your merger, and you had a representative from PEPCO and a representative from the company that wants to take you over, I guess. It was in 48 states. We had a 2-hour conversation where it seems like you, PEPCO, really are ready to go with this merger, except the people in the room were not. And probably you're not going to be able to say anything about it, but I just want to let you know at our Ward 3 Democratic Committee, there was a lot of negativity. Finished.
Well, thank you. We certainly appreciate your
I'm
input.
sorry?
I said thank you. We appreciate your input. I wish I could comment more on that, but yeah, I'm really here to try to help you understand your self-service options, and we have other folks that are focusing on those areas.
Thank you. And with that, we will move on to Mark Shaver of Washington Gas. He's going to present on some of their customer account offerings.
Look into bulk rate power purchase agreements.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Mark Shaver. I'm with Washington Gas. I appreciate the invite to be participating on this panel and to be at this excellent event today. I know it's a beautiful day outside, so it's hard to be in here listening to this conversation, but thank you for taking the time to listen. I'll talk a little bit about what Washington Gas can help with as far as helping consumers become energy smart, and some of the tools and offerings we have. Obviously a gas bill, or electric bill, or any other utility bill is a certain amount of that bill is there's a fixed cost to it that you can't control as a consumer. But there are some variable portions that you have some impact. Part of this is the cost of the gas, and we'll talk a little bit about that, and part of it is the quantity used or the amount of your usage. Cost of gas, obviously a big portion of that you cannot control. There's a certain price to the gas as it is produced in the system. Washington Gas, obviously through its purchase of gas strategy and through the increase in domestic supply, of late, gas prices, the actual cost of commodity has been down. That's been a great thing for all of us to realize. There are also some other things, specifically the control you have around the cost of gas is the price that you're paying to the supplier. Washington Gas obviously provides gas, and we do it through a purchase gas charge you see on your bill. And as a regular utility, there's only a certain amount that we can do, and we pass along the cost of that gas. We do a lot to try to control that through how we purchase that gas. But you have the ability to go out into the market, as you alluded to, and talk to retail suppliers and get a better price from them. They have additional flexibility, additional means to give you a better offering. Currently in the District of Columbia, there are 6 retail energy providers that are available to customers. And they offer a variety of different types of pricing. Obviously, you're going to have conversations with them to determine what might work for you as a consumer. In some cases, they offer a flat fixed price, so it doesn't go up or down. If the price is going to go up a lot, that's a great advantage to you because you're locked in at a certain rate. Of course, if prices go down, you're locked in at a certain rate. So there is some give and take there, but it does give you a little bit more certainty of what your rate is going to be over the course of a year. In other cases, they will give you a certain discount off what the PGC was with the utility. At least there you know for certain you're going to save something versus what your rate would have been with the regulated utility. The problem is if prices go up, your price still goes up, it just goes up maybe a little less than it would have otherwise. So there's definitely options for you. It's worth reaching out to these retail providers if you're not already participating in choice and finding out what they can offer you. Washington Gas definitely can help with that. You can go to our website or obviously call us and we can obviously provide some basic information about the program, provide details on the retail providers that are available. Office of People's Counsel has a lot of excellent information and can help out as well, as can the Public Service Commission of District of Columbia. So I would encourage folks who have not taken advantage of customer choice to do so. That is your one way to impact the cost of gas and impact in lowering your cost of your service. Beyond the cost of gas, obviously quantity, the amount you use is the other piece that's a variable that you can have an impact on. One of the things Washington Gas is trying to help with is the first piece of that is understanding your usage and the variability in that usage. This is our new bill format, which came a little over a year ago. And as part of that, we added this graph on the front page to be very clear and helpful to customers understand their usage. Beyond just giving you the usage, how much you use that month, which is what we in the past, and we gave you a few months back on a previous design that we had. This one actually, if you take a look at the graph, actually gives you 24 months worth of usage data. So you not only compare what you used this month to last month, but also to last year, and you can also see your trends over the course of the 24-month period. That way it gives you a better idea of, is my usage trending up, is it trending down? And that obviously can be helpful. Now, granted, usage is not just about what temperature I set my thermostat at or how much hot water I use. It's also impacted by weather and lots of other things. So one of the things we're also working on, and this is some things we're going to do on our website coming out later this year, probably sometime during the summer, is some additional tools to monitor your usage and your usage patterns by looking at the impact of usage from the various factors that might impact that bill. So it's obviously hard to see in here, but that's on the right-hand side, is that you're going to look at your bill, you can compare it from the current month to last month and to last year, and you can see in those red arrows, what's the impact of that? Based on our calculation, what was the impact? If it went up by 20%, what was that 20% due to? Was it due to because there was 20% colder that month versus the past month, so hence that was the impact to why your gas or your bill may have gone up by that 20%? Was it due to the fact that the cost of gas went up by a certain percentage? That'll help you understand if your bill went up or down, was it because your usage itself just went up? If weather was flat, cost prices, the price itself was flat, yet your usage went up, and that tells you could have done something more to maybe prevent that usage from going up. On the other hand, you thought you were doing everything you could, you were lowering that thermostat as much as you could, but your gas bill still went up. Maybe you get an idea of, was weather a little colder? Did the cost of the gas itself go up more? And so it gives you a little bit more ability to better understand what happened during that past month and why your bill is what it is. Again, this is just giving more education so you understand what you're facing. Beyond that, the site will also give you ability to kind of view the billing details themselves. But beyond that, obviously, your ability to control your usage is how efficient is your home, how efficient is your usage. On our Washington Gas .com website. There's also tools on there to help you understand various ways you can lower your usage. Additionally, we definitely recommend you reaching out to the District of Columbia Sustainable Energy Utility. They have a lot of great tools and programs available for consumers in the District of Columbia. So obviously their website and their phone number are available for residents, and all this information is also available on the WashingtonGas.com website. And also, there's other tools out there, and again, all this is listed on our Washington Gas website through the U.S. Department of Energy, as well as the Alliance to Save Energy. Provides a lot of information to customers of what they can do to save money, be it in a single-family home or in a large complex. So I think that's it for me at the moment. That helps. Thank you very much.
All right, and our third presenter is Mr. Lawrence Jones of the Office of People's Counsel.
Good afternoon. Throughout the day, you've heard about OPC's role as your utility consumer advocate. We do three things primarily to OPC. We represent consumers who live in the District of Columbia and use natural gas, electricity, telephone services before any utility regulatory body. We educate consumers about changes taking place in the district's dynamic utility markets, and we resolve utility consumers' complaints. It is through those last two roles that we have really learned as a staff that energy efficiency is more incumbent than ever on the district's ratepayers. Now, through complaints, we often find that consumers say their bills are too high. They can't understand how in the world they use that number of kilowatts in a month or that number of therms in a month. And through education, we learned that you must be energy efficient in order to be able to cut costs. Now, the Retail Competition and Consumer Protection Act of 1999 opened the district's markets to suppliers. New suppliers can come in now and provide you your electricity or natural gas through, of course, Washington Gas and Pepco's infrastructure, but you have the right to choose. In order to make the right choice, however, you must be educated about what those competitive energy suppliers are charging you and will charge you over a period of time. And also, even more importantly, what is the source of their energy? Is it through renewable fuels? Is it solar? Is it going to be coal-fired? So now the consumer not only has to be cautious about his or her choice regarding cost, but also source of energy. We find that consumers complain about high bills. Well, yes, there are various reasons for that, but certainly one's habits, the thermostat setting, the condition of the home or apartment in terms of insulation, the condition of the furnace or central air conditioning unit also plays a part in that. With advanced metering infrastructure, AMI, we found that though smart meters have been installed, consumers may not always understand how to get the best benefit, because without the in-home reading device, you aren't going to still know your kilowatt consumption pattern. So, we have an ongoing consumer education and outreach program in the Consumer Services Division. We have a program called Utility Workshop 101, in which we go out to community organizations, whether it's ANCs, civic and citizen associations, or any other organization of consumers. And staff assists in them in understanding how to read their bills, assists them in understanding alternate fuel sources, assists them in understanding the whole CES, or Competitive Energy Suppliers, game. Pamela Nelson, if you saw one of the first panels, very dynamic in terms of her passion for energy efficiency, also conducts workshops. And quite often CES staff, or CSD staff will go out to an ANC, for example. Pam will accompany us, and while we talk about various and sundry things such as rate cases or bill formats, Pam will tell anyone how they can cut those energy bills by anything from simple caulking or weather stripping to solar panels. So OPC has been your representative, but now even more so, we're trying to get consumers to become more educated so that they can reduce their costs in that way. Just as a footnote, we catalog all of the complaints that we get throughout the year. 49% of the complaints that we get are from wards 5, 7, and 8. Many of those complaints are about high bills, disconnection services. What we do through our education and outreach program, though, is to go to every ward in the city and talk with ratepayers about how to lower those energy costs. And more recently, as in part, I think, a result of PEPCO's changed bill format, we're getting complaints from some of the younger residents of the District of Columbia who are saying, I can't be using this amount of kilowatts in a given period of time. What's going on? So it's not just the wards that have the highest complaints traditionally. We're also getting complaints from those in other parts of the city. So this means our education and outreach program concerning energy efficiency must be even more comprehensive. So with that, we'll open it for questions. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So is Pepco going to be leaving the district and this new company taking over, or because some of us are still a little bit confused as to really what's going on with this?
You know, I wouldn't be the best person to answer that. Walter might be able to speak to that more, but I think that for the purposes of this discussion, if we could tailor the questions towards the offerings that these companies have currently, as well as OPC, to help you understand your energy consumption, that would be appreciated. I don't know, Walter, can you speak to?
At a very high level, I could say that there's no intention of PEPCO leaving the area. It's still going to be
Because
locally
we
managed.
seem to, just like I got from Peter, it seems like that they kind of like brush the customers off, and we really don't like that in the district. I'm here representing senior citizens in every ward of the District of Columbia through the DC Office on Aging, and I meet a lot of seniors in the run of a week, and they seem to all have the same complaints about Pepco, you know. So are you all planning on, as you say, expanding your outreach and educational services so that we as seniors especially feel more comfortable doing business with Pepco?
Well, I think that we're always trying to be there for our customers, so if you have any special needs or requests for presentations or assistance, please let us know. I think we'd be happy to reach out and work with you on that.
Walter, is there somebody that, a contact at PEPCO that might be best for people who have these types of questions to reach out to?
Certainly, I think Donna Cooper, PEPCO's president, she's got a whole department. I think they're probably most well-versed in questions around the merger and certainly support for the local area. But if you have any issues, you can always reach out to me, and I'll try to direct them to the appropriate person so we can get back to you.
We haven't yet made a decision on the merger, I don't think. I think it's still before the Public Service Commission.
I believe so. I believe the
Right?
hearings are still going on. That's right.
So consumers like yourself have the right, I don't know if it's too late for you to come out to testify.
I'm planning on going to the DC Council for some testimony about some budget issues for seniors coming this Monday, and
But it's still,
in
I
a few
think it's
weeks
still before
another
the
hearing.
Public Service Commission. They're trying to make a decision on it.
And we'll get a speaker to come out.
Was
to our
that the last
welcome center
panelist?
also.
Well, you can have OPC
That
come
wasn't
out too. speak
quite the last
to-
panelist. We have Catherine Klossing here from Groundswell, who's an organization, a nonprofit organization in Washington, D.C. I believe that she'll be able to answer some of your questions, Jean. So why don't we turn it over to Catherine?
Thanks, everyone. Hi, my name is Catherine Klausing. I'm here with Groundswell. We are a DC-based nonprofit consumer advocate, and our mission is to help communities in DC use their purchasing power together for good to get affordable clean energy. And Jean, you gave me a perfect segue into this discussion. I can't thank you enough. You must be a plant. So at Groundswell, so we're based here in DC, and what we do is organize groups of communities to use their everyday purchases in a way that will actually benefit the community. And our primary programs are helping communities, just like everyone in this room, buy affordable wind power. So what does purchasing power have to do with your electricity bill? Well, how many folks here pay an electric bill? Probably most of us, right? I do too. And how many of us, if we had a choice, would rather have that come from clean energy as opposed to dirty energy? Right? And how many of us like to get a good deal? So when we're going out to make a big purchase, we like to shop around, compare rates, make sure we're getting the best price, right? Everybody, yes. So what does this have to do with electricity? So a lot of the folks in the panel have talked a lot about consumer energy choice, retail choice, and how when you live in the district, you have a choice as to who provides the supply portion of your energy bill. So Pepco will continue to be your electricity delivery provider. They'll handle all of the billing, all of the transactions, reliability, all of that good stuff. But you can actually choose the company that provides your supply and where that supply comes from. So if you go with the default offer, if you don't take action, most of it comes from sort of fossil fuel generation sources. But you actually have a choice, and so we've seen how many powerful tools we have available to us to track where our energy is going, track how we're using it, track how much we're buying. But you can also choose your supplier. So this is where Groundswell comes in. We are a nonprofit that organizes renewable energy purchasing groups in 3 easy steps. Step 1, you join. So you let us know. You can come to our website. You can talk to me afterward. I'll send a sign-up sheet around. Let us know if you're interested in wind power. We build groups of hundreds and thousands of local consumers and negotiate on their behalf. So step 2 is Groundswell Negotiates. As a nonprofit, we build a big group of interested consumers, educated consumers, and then we go out on their behalf and talk to the licensed electricity suppliers that my colleagues mentioned. And so we're negotiating on your behalf for the best price, the best contract and service, and 100% wind power. Step 3, when we have the offer, we'll come back to you and you decide. So you say you're interested in our group, we negotiate and let you know. You take a look and you say, yes, this is for me, this is great, I'm going to save money by buying in a group, I want to go 100% green. Or you say, maybe no, maybe that's not for me. So we give you a choice and we make it easy. So what? Why do this? Why does this matter out of all the menu of options we've heard today and all of the great things that are going on with energy in the district? It's kind of like the Reverend Yearwood said, we want everyone here to have a seat at the table in the clean energy discussion and not just be on the menu. We want everyone to be able to take advantage of the amazing choice you have with your electricity bill so that every time you open up your bill, you feel great about it and you know that the dollars you're spending are going towards supporting wind power and a cleaner future. So if anyone is interested, come find me over here. You can pass along some more information. We're building a purchasing group right now that will allow you to save money by buying in bulk on affordable wind power together. Thank you.
Okay, so we have lots of questions. Ma'am in the orange scarf, I believe you were next.
My question is about the independent suppliers. As a native Washingtonian, I never remember gas company or Pepco locking consumers into an agreement. And what I'd like to know, I used to grumble about the bill, like why is it so high? But what can be done about your agreement with the independent suppliers that latched on to DC consumers before all this information became available online? What can a consumer do to get out of that agreement? Because some of the independent suppliers are charging 2 to 3 times the amount, but when they come to you, you had 3 days to back out of the contract or something like that. And I'm speaking on behalf of myself and some seniors. So are these laws or are there regulations or what can be done about that?
So I think I'm hearing a sort of compound question. It sounds like, Lawrence, you have
more words than I
Okay.
Because, some of the consumers were caught long before all of this information was supplied about who was legal to do it in DC and who was not.
Okay. First, competitive energy suppliers are licensed by the Public Service Commission, as are all utility companies, to provide, in this instance, electric or gas supply to district residents who contract with them. Now, the People's Counsel, Sandra Manifold Fry, says that choice is good, but you must be educated about your contract stipulations. In other words, is that contract going to be a fixed or variable rate, and for how many months or years is that contract? If it's fixed, you're locked in, let's say, for 2 years at a certain kilowatt rate per hour. If it's variable, and that is not explained to you, you may actually start out at a lower kilowatt rate, say, than Pepco, but after maybe 2 billing cycles, that rate might increase based upon all kinds of other marketing variables. That's why it's a variable rate. But if you don't know that going in, you may not necessarily understand why the bill would have doubled, tripled, or quadrupled. That's the kind of complaints that we got quite often from seniors that prompted us to initiate an investigation, to petition, rather, the Public Service Commission to initiate an investigation in 2013. As a result of that, we were able to get a settlement of $100,000 from one company that was found to be the most egregious in terms of its marketing practices, and stimulate the Public Service Commission to look at its rules and regulations regarding competitive energy suppliers, Section 327 of the Consumer Bill of Rights. That is still in process. So, you can go to OPC's website, not just for energy efficiency ideas, but also information on CES. There are certain questions that every consumer should ask when they are approached, either by phone or by door, in terms of, before you sign a contract. If you are talking about getting out of a contract that you are in, why not give us a call Monday, 202-727-3071, and one of the CSD staff will assist you in walking through that particular problem with you.
Your answer is exactly what I wanted to hear, but as I said, I'm representing other seniors as
Yes.
well. And some of them have had their contracts since 2013.
Okay.
And that was prior to all of this information we have now. So there is, from what you told me, my understanding, that there is a way that they can come back to Pepco or Washington Gas.
What we'd like to do then is perhaps, I can talk with you after the session. We may in fact want to set up a meeting with your organization.
I'm the organization.
You're the organization. I thought you were talking, there were other seniors that you wanted to, talk with us,
Because some
about
of
the
them can't
problem.
even get out of their
Okay, let's talk after the session, and then,
Okay.
we'll see how we can provide some
All right.
immediate assistance.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, ma'am, and back in the red.
This question is for both OPC and Groundswell. Could you give a rough idea of the size of your budget and the source of your funding?
Sure. So for Groundswell, we're a nonprofit. Our budget is about $2.5 million a year. We're funded primarily through private philanthropy foundation monies. And we also receive some of our revenue from partners like the DC Sustainable Energy Utility, a public entity on behalf of whom we help operate energy efficiency programs. So most of our revenue comes from private philanthropy and foundations.
I do not know the exact amount of our operating budget, but those funds are paid for through a tax-assessed utility companies. So we have an operating budget that is both in part from utility companies and from DC government. We are under DC government personnel regulations.
Lawrence, before you step away, one thing that I was curious about, since the audience may be interested as well, is you said that OPC periodically goes out into the community to do some education and for the audience. How frequently do you go into the community, and how can they learn about where you will be presenting?
We are not just periodically, we are out there Monday through Saturday on some occasions. Monday through Thursday, typically every week of the month, because whenever there's an ANC, Civic or Citizens Association meeting, we are more often than not there. The seniors organizations, church organizations, so In order to contact us about a presentation, just give us a call.
All right.
And CSD staff will make itself available, especially in terms of the acquisition, by the way. We have been working with our litigation division staff, our attorneys, so that when we go out to talk with organizations, we are also not just talking about energy efficiency and other matters, but also the Exelon Pepco acquisition matter as well. So we have attorneys with us, yes.
Actually, my question is more for the groundswell. I'm not understanding how I could see having an interest in what you're talking about, wind power for sure, and cleaner, sustainable energy. I don't understand how then you get Pepco to do that when they use fossil fuel. So I don't understand how that goes together.
That's a great question. So, and I'm sure we can kind of tag team this potentially, but so Groundswell is not actually a supplier. We're a nonprofit advocate. We're kind of like a broker going out and negotiating on people's behalf. So Groundswell is not actually supplying electricity. We are working with alternate private companies who are going out and taking care of the generation for you. So they're actually going to be delivering the electricity from either a wind farm or from a coal-fired power plant to your home. And so Pepco has its own procurement process, and I'm sure Mark can speak more to this than I can. But if you're Pepco, if you contract with an alternative energy supplier, Pepco will continue to deliver that electricity to your house. They will still handle all of the billing, service if there's a disruption or an outage. So Groundswell is actually not changing any procurement practices on Pepco's behalf.
That's right. So basically, the infrastructure is Pepco's. We deliver it to your home. You have the option of purchasing that supply from any of the licensed suppliers that the district offers. And Groundswell, I'm assuming, works with those licensed suppliers, right?
Exactly. We are licensed as well as a broker.
Yeah.
So as a follow-up to that question, if I receive a phone call or a brochure that asks me to change my energy supplier, do these companies work specifically with Pepco, or is it?
Well, they don't work directly with Pepco. They need to be licensed in the district, so you should certainly check that to make sure they are. And then we do have tools on our website to let you understand what the price to compare would be and things that you should look for, just as the OPC would have those things on their site as well. So there's many places where you can go to get information to understand, just to become more educated around what you need to know in order to make a better choice. I hope that answers your question.
Yep, that's great. And actually a follow-up question for both Walter and Mark would be that a lot of what you've presented on shows the online resources that you have for customers. Is there a place where customers can receive a physical copy other than their monthly bill to better understand their energy use if they're not internet savvy?
Well, for Pepco, certainly if you have a question, you're more than welcome to call our customer service number, and we have experts that can walk you through any number of questions. They can also produce a report and mail that to you, so that'll give you information that's similar to what you would see online. Certainly not as interactive, so you don't get the opportunity to kind of work to do a what-if analysis, let's call it, but still very effective in understanding your energy use.
And similar with Washington Gas, obviously, that's why we changed the bill to add that 24-month usage so that it was available to anyone who received a paper bill. The online tools that we have, our representatives, as soon as those are available, this is later this year, representatives will also have access to that same information. So over the phone, they'd be able to assist customers with the same thing.
Yeah, and the new Pepco bill also has 24 months of usage now, so we're certainly very similar in that format.
Yes.
Yes, the gas bill, 24 months. Is that showing us how much we used or how much we spent?
That's usage. That's a usage graph.
Usage.
Yeah.
Same thing for us.
And at the end of the session, can someone spend 5 minutes with me to go through my Pepco and explain what all this is?
Sure, I'd be glad to. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, gentleman in the checkered shirt.
Yeah, my question was sort of similar to what you just asked. Like, for me, listening to the presenters, it's been how to read your Pepco bill and how to read your gas bill, as opposed to people who are not computer savvy and so forth. How are you reaching them to explain some of this, because unless you have a computer and unless you're fairly savvy, a lot of seniors, and I'm speaking for, I represent AARP and the Age-Friendly Cities Project, that how are you reaching those seniors who are not tech savvy, who are having trouble understanding this bill? And how are you reaching them?
Oh, well, certainly for Petco, if you would like to have a representative come out and work with a specific group, and we're always available to come out to a community meeting or a special meeting to help you understand your bill or to answer specific questions. So that's always an option. Our customer service numbers are available as well, so that's an option as well. I hope that gets to your question.
Certainly with Washington Gas, obviously, we do support community meetings, but additionally, a lot of the stuff I just demonstrated as far as some energy efficiency tools, and those things are also produced and mailed to customers for use for folks who don't want to go online to get that information.
That's right. We have various brochures available as well.
So we are running a little short on time, so just in order to maximize those questions, we'll take a couple more. If you could be brief in your question, we'll try to be brief in our answer. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll try to be as brief as possible. So I've been purchasing electricity through another service provider for about a year now, 100% wind power. I'm kind of curious, this is kind of an energy savvy group. How many of you have actually purchased your electricity from someone other than Pepco, or gas from someone other than Washington Gas? Okay, one person out of this group who's probably about as savvy as it gets, right? So I've known about electrical deregulation for 10 years. I've cared about green energy for about as long. But I've never found the process or the way you compare something to be very straightforward. So it's almost like every website everyone has is like a checkbox on some regulatory form saying you have to have a price to compare where the electricity comes from. And it's all in all these different formats, and it's not really consistent, and I haven't found it to be in a place that's easy to find. You Google around enough, you eventually find it. That's how I found it. But you might get a mailing once a year saying, all right, you have this option. And then nothing after that. And I'm trying to think, is there a better way of doing that? Because, we have nutrition labels. We have, now on the banking side, all the credit card statement has to say all this information that looks a certain way in the same format for everybody, regardless of who you are. I mean, I feel like if information were presented in that way, and on a regular basis, on a way that people could actually read it and understand it, I think it would be much more effective. Even as someone who's young who can navigate the way around a computer, I didn't know all these rules until I really started digging around and affecting some time. So has there been any thought from an industry perspective? I mean, deregulation is in most states now, right? So, is there a way to standardize everything so everyone knows what they're looking at?
I think your gas, clarify it, of the offerings from the suppliers, and making sure you understand what the differences are between the suppliers, or
well, and just making that information in a place easy to access and easy to understand.
Well, our recently redesigned bill, we tried to take an extra step to make it clear to understand what options and what you were shopping for, and the price compare, I think, is a little more prevalent than it used to be in our old bill. So, we're trying to do as much as we can with the tools that we have available to us. So the bill, I hope, is a little better and gives you a better understanding what options are. And also, the same thing with the website. Our website's recently redesigned, and I'm hoping that the organization of that is easier to find information such as this. So from a marketing standpoint, certainly we're willing to listen to any suggestions you might have, but we're trying to take steps to make it easier for you.
Yes. Thank you all for the presentations today. And as we as consumers struggle to be good stewards of the earth and reduce our carbon footprint, and you as corporations continually try to increase your corporate profits, how can you speak to how we can regulate those, because as I'm reducing how much energy I use in my home, my bill continues to go up because there are constant petitions about increasing the rates on us consumers. So how can you all be good stewards to us so that we, as we conserve, that you conserve as well? And by the way, Mr. Shaver, that was one of the better utility presentations I've ever seen. Thank you for that.
Well, I'll go further. One of the things, obviously, we, as a regular utility, we obviously have to make a case for our rates. I think one of the things that's, in the district or other places, there's obviously other different impacts to things like the accelerated pipe replacement, which impacts customers' bills, which obviously is a topic within DC currently. Obviously, what we're trying to manage between both of those is the cost of the gas, the impact on the consumer, but also obviously managing long term for the environment, the well-being of the system. So obviously, we try to work within those confines and to manage our prices and our long-term plans for the betterment of our system and what we provide to our customers. I think what you'll find is that through a lot of our work with managing customer costs, a lot of it is managing the price of that gas. I think our purchasing strategies are such that we do try to manage that and try to make sure we have long-term deals in place to make sure that we continue to manage it, so we don't have spikes that you are impacting you. As I talked about in the presentation, the variable part of your bill doesn't impact you if those spikes come during the course of the year.
And let me add too that the Public Service Commission sets the rates that are charged to consumers. The Office of the People's Counsel, as your attorney, represents you in those rate-setting proceedings, but the PSC sets the rates based upon their own perspective in terms of profits and economy of the district.
Well, as I said, they're often petitioning to have those rates increased. So.
Yes.
Constant tension everywhere.
Well, with that, I see that we are out of time, but if the panelists stick around, we may be able to ask them some questions afterwards. Thank you, everyone, for attending.